welcome back to my channel. It feels like it's been a really long time since I've been here. I think I'm not very good at this whole booktube thing. In any case, today I wanted to do my February wrap-up, which is actually February plus first week of March kind of wrap-up, because I only read 2 books and it took me the first week of March to actually finish reading those books because I was really strong at the beginning of February. I was on whatever the word is, on track to read a lot of books, but then the Winter Olympics hit and I pretty much watched every single sport possible in the Winter Olympics. Then I went on my own Winter Olympics vacation. I went skiing in Nagano in Japan, and that was absolutely wonderful trip, super necessary since I haven't been on vacation in 2 years because of Corona. So it was my very first like actual leave my city and go on vacation type trip. So it was much needed, very much relaxing, and because of that I didn't read at all pretty much in February. But with the first week of March added on, I was able to actually finish 2 books. And the first of which is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I really enjoyed this. It's the story of basically a family and throughout the generations where the concept of Cain and Abel is sort of repeated in every single generation, and it's that family's kind of going through the motions of that sort of fate and that sort of fable basically. And it's all set in Salinas Valley in California. Basically you get to see the development of California pre-World War I, during World War I, and also World War II. And so you get to see the development of California, the development of society, of human interaction, the relationship between neighbors and family and things like that, and how that develops, while basing your entire story on this very old fable of Cain and Abel. And I really enjoyed this. I was really swept away by this, and it was hard actually almost to be interrupted by the Winter Olympics because I was so into this book that I really wanted to read it. But yeah, I just really love this. I've read Grapes of Wrath and I've read Of Mice and Men. I would say that objectively, I would say Grapes of Wrath is the superior book. I think Grapes of Wrath, the topic it deals with, the really verbose literary language that Steinbeck is able to produce for that book is absolutely superior. But for me, I found East of Eden more accessible. I found it much more readable, and I found that I interacted with the characters a lot better in this book than I did in Grapes of Wrath. So while objectively I find Grapes of Wrath the superior novel, subjectively I preferred East of Eden. But it just boils down to personal taste because they're both excellent books. So I was super happy to revisit Steinbeck, and this was just really a beautiful book. I really love this. Next is I read my Japanese language book club pick of the month, which is a little book club with my friend. We have a third member now, another friend of mine who decided to join in. But basically it was my friend and I deciding that we need to read in Japanese, and so we decided to read 1 Japanese language book a month, and we're doing very well. In fact I've already read my March book. I've already completed it, so I'm ahead of schedule, so I'm super excited. But our February pick was called Unbalanced, by Kato Chie. So this has not been translated into English as of yet. And what this is basically it's a woman who is dealing with having met the mistress of her husband. So she's dealing with the fact that her husband has had an affair. And just from that, one could think that, oh, it's just another affair story. This is going to be boring and whatnot. But the thing is that this story is not as simple as it is, because it's not just a standard affair. It's an affair brought on as a sort of traumatic after effect of the husband's abuse when he was a child. He was sexually taken advantage of by an older woman when he was about, I believe he was like 10, 11, 12 years old. And so it's not so easy as, oh, my husband had an affair with another woman and now I have to deal with the consequences type story. It's really, she has to deal with the fact that her husband, she just can't understand. She's met the mistress and she can't understand why this, her young, attractive husband is able to have sexual relations with this woman who is not attractive, who is not put together, who cannot compete with her as herself, and this woman is maybe almost 15 years younger, 15 years older. And the fact of the matter is that her husband has been having this affair with this woman while they themselves are in a sexless marriage. She has only had sex twice with her husband in the span of about a 10-year marriage. Once after the wedding and another time, I believe right before the wedding. But since then they've been sexless, and she's had to deal with the weight of that issue for so long, and so to attach this affair on top of that, where she questions, like, is he really unable to have an erection, and why is he able to have an erection with this woman who is just not quality of a woman and whatnot. So we basically just go through this entire book of her reflecting on herself, her meeting him, their sexless marriage themselves, what it means for her as a woman, what it means for him as a man to have been sexually abused. So it goes through all these very, very complicated emotions and feelings, and it is a very heavy and it is a very exhausting type book. You are in her thoughts the entire time, and she admittedly states that I can't believe that I'm revisiting this exact same thought again. But the fact of the matter is that when something is so perturbing to you, you can't help but doing that. I know many a times I've had to deal with the emotional aftermath of an event, and you rationally, you understand that you're just revisiting the same topics over and over again in your head, and it's not doing you any good, it's not healthy, but you just emotionally can't help yourself from questioning you yourself and your worth. And I mean, it's something that even when you grow up supposedly, I mean, I'm still dealing with emotions from my past that I really shouldn't be dealing with, but it's just you can't help it. And so the author's ability to reflect on that emotional process is really, really quite good. So I really enjoyed this book. It's dark, it's heavy, it's not as straightforward, but it's so realistic. It comes to a very realistic conclusion that just makes sense. It's not, because it's not a straightforward situation. It really is not. It's just, this is not something you can prepare for. It's not something you can imagine. It's just not straightforward. So I really thought this book dealt with that very, very, very well. Really enjoyed this. And that was all I read in February in terms of novels. I also read 5 volumes of manga from the series Marmalade Boy, Marmalade Boy, which is a really cute shoujo manga about a girl who learns that her parents are divorcing, but they're not divorcing in the traditional manner. The fact is they went on a vacation to Hawaii and met with another couple, and then they decided to switch partners. And with that, she now ends up living in a household with basically 4 parents and a boy her age with whom she develops a romantic attraction. So super funny, super fun. I really enjoy this. I actually ended up finishing the series in the very first week of March. So I have completed this. But I'm not going to go too much in detail because I've decided I'm going to separate my manga reads from my literary reads. So I'm going to have a separate video coming soon about recent manga purchases, manga reads, and also a manga DNF. So that'll be coming up in my next video. Anyway, that's it for today. a very rare short video for me. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.